This was Vestas 11th Hour Racing at full power as they led the fleet of 7 Volvo Ocean 65s through the straights yesterday evening, and they are still in the lead. Team AkzoNobel currently second place, Mafre just behind in third. We've seen that position change a lot. Then we got Team Sun Hunkai Scallywag, Dongfeng Race Team, Team Brunel, and Turn the Tide on Plastic at the back for now. Well, welcome to Volvo Ocean Race headquarters. I'm Niall Myant-Best, and once again we are here to bring you all the information that's happened in the last 24 hours in the Volvo Ocean Race. And we've got a bit of a treat as well. We have got Volvo Ocean Race CEO Mark Turner coming along at the end of the show. We wanted to talk to him yesterday. He's a busy man. He got pulled away at the last minute. However, he is here and we are going to put him under the spotlight. If you've got any questions that you want the CEO of the Volvo Ocean Race to answer, then put them into the comments and we will pass on the ones that we think are suitable. Also, we're going to be talking to the sailors. We've got interviews coming up. We've got the live positions as well. And we've got the analysis as to what's worked and what we think is going to pay in the future. So let's go straight to the live positions and see where the fleet are right now. Well, we are 2 days into leg one, and we are certainly out of the Med right now. Wide open space. The fleet are sailing down to the southwest, down toward Port Santo, before then turning towards the Portuguese coast and Lisbon. That's where the finish line is. Look at how tight this group is at the back. Turn the Tide on Plastic, Team Brunel in the rear. However, there's only about 2 miles between Turn the Tide on Plastic and Dongfeng Race Team and Sun Hunkai Scallywag. Then the Spanish boat Mafre at the top of your picture. They have been on a roll. Conrad's going to talk us through exactly what they've done a little bit later on. AkzoNobel, are they in second? Are they in third? It's always a little bit hard to judge at this point because there is a bit of separation and there is a bit of interesting weather coming along. Vestas 11th Hour Racing right now are looking pretty good in the lead. But the question is, how long can they stay there? And you can see from their track just how hard they're having to work. Plenty of jibes and plenty of turns in the breeze as well. Well, the speeds have slowed right down at the front of the fleet, 1.8 knots. It's not too much of a surprise if you've been keeping your eye on the weather forecast, but compare that with the Spanish team at the top, 11.1 knots. It's just starting to come down right now. These are live numbers that are being beamed to us from the boats. And it's certainly been an incredibly tough time for all the teams. It's light winds now. That's going to be intensive on the brain. And they have had no let up at all. It's been a rough ride through the straight. And it's been an incredibly tough night as well. Stu Bannatyne gave us a little bit of an insight into what life is like on board.
The last few hours have been pretty hectic as we've had first of all, it got dark as we approached the Straits of Gibraltar. And the forecast called for a building breeze. And then especially on the exit it was going to be potentially gusting well over 30 knots. So we made the call to peel to the fractional sail. First of all we put a reef in with the masthead and then we peeled down to the fractional. It's far too early in the race to be risking anything. And yeah, nice short sea state, wind against tide. So I've got plenty on at the moment. The wet weather gear's getting a good workout. And it's basically, we just got to survive the next few hours and then the breeze should drop off again.
Well, it certainly hasn't been an easy start for all the teams in this year's Volvo Ocean Race, but let's take a look at where we left them going into the straight. Let's have a look at the virtual eye and see what's happened since we last checked in. It was a pretty compact ride through the straights, but then the course opened up and suddenly we have tactical options becoming available. Vestas had to make the choice first. Do you put in more jibes, stay in the funnel effect out of the Med where the breeze is, but use up precious reserves of energy? Or do you sail to the top and do you sail to the bottom where the breeze is a little bit lighter? The jibing might be easier, but you lose a little bit of speed. It's a bit of a tough call. Well, Dee Kafari talked us through her thought process.
We just exited the Gibraltar Straits and we saw 35 knots, downwind, lots of jibes. And we're still in the acceleration corridor coming out of Gibraltar, so we're making life a little bit easier for ourselves by going out to where it's a little bit quieter before we jibe and then we come back into the pressure.
So that was Dee's thoughts on how best to attack the funnel effect, but there are 2 options available. Which one was best? Well, luckily, I don't have to make a call. Conrad Colman has been here. He's been poring over all the data coming off the boats and keeping his eye onto exactly what happened. Right, Conrad, what was going to pay, what happened, and who got it right?
What worked? Well, hard work worked, finally. I think that Xavier Fernandez was merciless last night with Juan Villa, really keeping the red boat in that narrow band of high pressure. Going to the computer here, you can see on this screen grab that I've prepared that there's this narrow band here of pressure. If we look at the route within the Spanish boat, you can see their track going through there. However, if we go onto purple, you can see that AkzoNobel has been doing these big jibes all the way through. And the problem there is that we see that they spent this time here and this time here outside of the ideal pressure. Now, just to have a closer look at that, at 8 o'clock UTC last time, you can see AkzoNobel is here outside of the pressure. At that time, they had only 15 knots of wind. The red boat, this one here, Mapfre, they were in 23 knots of wind, so a full 8 knots faster of pressure. Going forward again, this was 5 hours later. AkzoNobel had sailed all the way through that jet from exiting Gibraltar, again into the softer wind. Here they only have 13 knots of wind. The red boat down in the south has a full 21. So I counted 11 jibes for Mapfre, just 9 for AkzoNobel, and that extra work has clearly paid off. Let's have a look at the tracker. This is how the pass was made. Let's see how it plays out. You can see Vestas there still blazing away from the front of the fleet. The jibe coming in there is because a shift is coming. This is called a right-hand shift or a clocking shift. However, you can see lots of jibes going in there, so the wind is still oscillating, but as we just saw from the live positions, everybody has made that jibe now and going to the southerly position.
So some boats using up energy reserves. Is that going to affect them further down the track? Well, we caught up with Mapfre to hear what they had to say. Juan Villa, navigator of Mapfre. We've seen the fleet having some pretty tough sailing conditions. How are you guys doing after the last 24 hours?
Yeah, it was tough conditions after the Strait of Gibraltar with winds up to 35 knots quite often, and we had to throw some jibes. Right now the breeze has started to decrease and still just waiting to do the final jibe towards Madeira.
And give us a little bit of an insight into how you guys are looking to attack the next few hours on the rest of the leg down to Porto Santo.
Yeah, just basically right now waiting for a shift to do the jibe or into port, and then we know it's going to be quite tricky and quite light. To be honest, anything still can happen in the leg.
And Juan, lastly, I mean, this is the start of the Volvo Ocean Race proper, the start of the 45,000 miles around the globe. You know, what's it like to be finally underway and racing?
Well, it feels good. It's been a lot of preparation, a very long build-up. Everyone on board looks forward to that and looks forward to be racing and be started in the Volvo Ocean Race.
Well, so far so good for the Spanish boat. They had a less than perfect start to this leg, but they're certainly on the charge. But there are going to be challenges coming up, and we're going to go to Conrad in just a moment to understand exactly what are those challenges and how the deck might shuffle. But don't forget, we have got Mark Turner joining us in just a few moments. So if you've got any questions for the CEO of the Volvo Ocean Race, anything that you've been wondering about, any rumors that you want debunked, send them in and I will pass them on. But Conrad, an interesting few hours coming up.
Exactly. We've gone from high wind speeds when they have been burning up their muscles, banging those jibes through in hard conditions. Remember, in the live feed from the helicopter yesterday, we saw some pretty fruity jibes there from 11th hour racing. However, what I was talking about earlier was this clocking shift, this right-hand shift. At the moment, I just checked the conditions on board without telemetry. The wind is here at the moment, just north of east, and that's 11 knots on Mapfre. We just saw a video of them now sailing with A3 and J3, so that's their best configuration of sailing downwind in these light conditions. In 5 hours' time, we're going to be getting winds south south of, and then all the way down to the, heading further right, excuse me, cat's got my tongue. So that's an almost 180-degree wind shift that we're going to be seeing over the coming few hours. Now, just a reminder, on these weather charts, this is not showing land and sea and so on. This is talking about the color has all to do with the strength of the wind. So yellow and red over here means strong wind. Down here we've got blue, and that is going to be the near future of the race. If we step forward a couple of hours from where we are now, you can see they're just pile driving into that big blue mess. We've got Vestas 11th Hour Racing leading the charge. As you saw on the live images, their speed had just dropped off to 2 knots of boat speed, so it looks like they're already getting into this muck. Stepping forward again, we can see that instead of the wind coming in like this, we're seeing the wind coming in like this. So we've already had that shift from the north round to the south, and it's only going to become further round in the coming hours. At 2100, so 9 o'clock UTC, the wind will have made its 180-degree shift completely. It's coming from entirely the different direction, from the southwest, and the boats are going to be completely upwind. Now that means a lot of work coming up. They're going from the A3 to the masthead code 0 to the J1. It's a lot of sail changes coming up and a lot of work.
Well, a lot of work to come, but here he is. We wanted to have him yesterday. He couldn't make it. Now, the only real reason we've been able to grab him is where we are here in Volvo Ocean Race headquarters. His office is just above us. So he has to walk down these stairs, and we've been able to grab him. Mark, thank you very much for joining us. Now, just before we dive in with some of the questions that we've got coming in, what is with the leg? What on earth happened? Why are you on crutches?
Completely stupid, just twisted my ankle, running too fast in the race village, looking at my phone at the same time. For all of you, don't do that again. Don't do it at all unless you want to end up with a broken ankle like me. So put your phone in your pocket and concentrate.
Okay, that's where the soft questions finish. Now, we've been sent a couple of questions. If you do have any questions, you can send them in now, but you're going to have to be quick. We had one come in from, I think it was Phil Gross. Now, he asked, why is it that we have to wait the length of time that we do for the tracker updates? What's your thinking there?
Well, I think for the race overall, we decided to take a little bit of a different tack to what's happening over the last few years, which is more and more position reports, more and more often. And actually just at least on a general approach, revert to, in the middle of the ocean, revert to a 6-hourly position, 4 official rankings a day. That matches what the boats get as well, so then we're in line on land and what the boats are actually seeing. And then actually add on with the use of the race experts and their 24/7 presence in the control room, add additional tracker changes and updates when there's something significant happens. In addition to that, our aim is to try and do full live whenever we're near the coast, when we're at the starts, finishes, and particular turning marks. But it's actually very, very difficult to maintain full live all of the time. It may sound simple, but actually the problem is you only get one little error into the data. It feeds through all our systems. Every bit of output, graphics, 3D, will get messed up. So we need to control it in some way. We equally don't think that when we're in some of the parts of the ocean, you really need an update every hour. And right now, it's quite intensive. So, yeah, we've kept it live first 24 hours, and we're adding extra positions whenever the race experts see something interesting that's happened. So you're not missing anything.
And there really are. I mean, when you say that the updates are going out all the time, I mean, it's 24 hours a day. There is an army of people looking over this. So when things do come out here, I mean, this gives you an idea of the race headquarters that we're in. There is so much coming into this room, and the important thing is just to picking out those 1 or 2 things that we think are going to make a difference. But we are trying to do it. Keep us on our toes, though. We do work for you. Okay, another question that's come in here. This is a bit of a pet project for you, obviously, the future of the Volvo Ocean Race. Is there any news on the next edition? What are we waiting for there? Oleg, I think, has sent this question in, and we're just wondering, what does it look like from now?
Yeah, it's a fair question. Good question. And obviously, as is clear, I will move on from this role as soon as there's a replacement. So it's not now. I'm still here, as you can see, not going anywhere. 100%, giving 100% for 100% of the time. I don't know when a new CEO will come in, but I'm imagining it's over the next 2 months or so, 2-3 months. It's quite hard to settle what a new timing will be in the future of the race without a new CEO being appointed, because they need to own what is, I have to be honest, quite a heavy responsibility for then delivering and making it happen. So that's one aspect. And secondly, as was very openly communicated, I'm moving on because I was pretty focused on a 2019 start in new boats. Today, all those questions need to be asked again. New boats when? Is 2019 still an option in the old boats? Is the race after that in 2020, 2021? Lots of the questions. All that happened with Volvo, in 4 weeks ago was they wanted to put a pause and take a bit more time to fully approve that process and the commencing the building the new boats. Nothing else was questioned at this point. Just that the new boats, the timeline was tight, we ran out of time, didn't get the full thing sign off that we needed internally at Volvo on a financing perspective to start that process. Everything else that's been announced today, Volvo will say, is actually still planned. Of course, new timing might change some of that strategy, some of the things will evolve, and a new CEO will, of course, add their own view and their own take on what the direction to go. And things will be slightly different because 2019, in new boats is no longer possible.
Is there any information you can give us about a new CEO? Because obviously you're here now. We're waiting to see what will happen next. Is there latest news on that?
I honestly don't have anything at all directly on that front.
Damn it.
There is some. I know that some people have been interviewed, and obviously I know a number of the candidates that have gone through. I'm not directly involved in the process, and that's normal. I mean, Volvo need to recruit your CEO. This position is you work for Volvo directly as a CEO, and like everyone else here who is an employee of Volvo Ocean Race, as a CEO you are a Volvo employee. That actually means the process is a little bit more complex, a little bit more complete. There are different people that need to interview people to get through that because you're a CEO of a Volvo company. So, that's normal. It's a big company way of dealing things, and it's normal. So it will take a little bit more time than perhaps it could do otherwise. But equally, then you obviously need to get it right. You need to get the right person, and there'll always be different kind of profiles. There's some very good candidates that put themselves forward from the ones that I know of. I have no doubt there'll be someone very, very capable in here shortly. But also equally, it's pretty important to stress that the way we've functioned for the last year and a half here is with a very strong leadership team, 8 of us in the leadership team together. The strategy and the things we've done for this race and for the future have been very much built together in that team. And this race is running very well and does not need me to be here to be running. A new CEO hopefully will be able to rely on that in a big way as well. And so we're not talking about a gap or a loss of momentum. Clearly we've lost some of what we plan to do, but the ship sails very well at the moment, and she's going to keep on sailing very well, regardless of when the handover will be between myself and someone new.
Well, now, one of the things that you've pushed really hard for this edition is all the information that we get going out to you, change the whole way that we push information out, and documentaries and video clips and everything. We've got the raw content on the blog. If you haven't seen this, you need to go onto the website. You need to go onto the race blog. All the clips, as they're coming live off the boat and into here, you can see them at exactly the same time as we do as well. What about the Life of the Extreme show? That was pretty popular last time. We had a couple of people just asking about it now. What's the plan with that? It was weekly, but I think it's moving.
Well, obviously TV programming is important. Last time in the last race, it went quite extreme. I think there were 38 26-minute programs. And that drove almost all of the work and bandwidth use we had from the boats, to the extent that the OBRs were spending most of their week just sending back HD content to go into a TV program that had to go out every Wednesday. I think had to leave here every Wednesday. And that really that almost took away their energy, time and bandwidth to share the actual thing that was happening on the boat, because those programs were sort of pre-programmed in terms of what the subject themes were. So we needed to get away from that. It was good distribution of that program. It repeats 38 times in the traditional valuation methods in coverage. It really stacked up to a lot. But we didn't feel that was the right way to really engage people and then grow an audience and engage people. But there is a big TV programming package this time. There's a pre-race a documentary just about to go out, which is on the pre-race, and then there are 9 programs about the race that follow, timing-wise distributed to follow the rhythm of the race, but allows us to use content when the boats have finished in a stopover rather than trying to send it all back by Inmarsat, which is very good, but actually we were using up all our bandwidth to do that before. Now we want that bandwidth and the energy of the onboard reporter to report live and raw and what's going on and try and get people a lot closer to the story. And that story, there's plenty of human and lifestyle aspects to it, but the bit that counts is the race competition, the pressure of the race, which creates the emotion on board, and we want to share that when it happens. So our approach is much more about raw, about getting stuff off the boat more directly, about trying to go get the sailors to open up more. And to do that, there's lots and lots of different elements. Sharing the content directly, crew communicators, the onboard reporters being perhaps a little bit connected to the team.
Well, one of the things I think that's gone down quite well with you guys watching was the the helicopter going out to meet the fleet as they sailed through Gibraltar. I mean, yeah, it was lovely that it was incredible conditions and beautiful breeze and everything. Are we going to expect any more of that? I know helicopter fuel is expensive, but what's the plan?
Well, anywhere where we can try and do that kind of live, obviously we're going to do it, and that includes for the live tracking. But obviously Gibraltar is a pretty special place in terms of its. If you're lucky with the timing, as we were, then it's very, very doable. It's obviously hard to do that in lots of places on the planet, but certainly, we've been trying to develop partnerships with navies and equally with the coastlines we go around. Where can we do that kind of thing? But also, as you saw last night in the live, hopefully a lot of you, a lot of onboard images, and that in the previous race, the live X's and live into boats wasn't considered a priority because we were focused on this HD footage and programming and sending content off the boat, and actually. The lenses are not always clean. Sorry about that, guys, but they're not always clean. We can only ask the OBRs a number of times to do that. The image will sometimes be pixelated. It'll cut different things, but we're getting amazing quality out of that bandwidth. What you saw it last night.
Sure.
Loads of content off the boats. It's direct off the boats. It doesn't always have to be with a reporter in front of it saying what's going on. You're just dialing into what's going on in the water. And ultimately, that's really what we're trying to do, is in many ways as possible, give people a slice of what's really happening, not a sort of PR packaged version of it.
Well, I've got to say, well done. Good luck to you, because the start of this year, this edition of the Volvo Ocean Race, I mean, it's been pretty full on. Mark, we'll let you go on. I won't shake your hand because you're balancing quite precariously, with your crutches. Get well soon. I will let you go back up to your office. Right. Well, there you have. There's the latest from the CEO of the Volvo Ocean Race. And Mark Turner there just alluding to some of the build-up. The documentary's coming out soon. What an incredible build-up it was, because, of course, we all know Akzo Nobel came in early, came in with guns blazing, and then just the wagon came off the wheels slightly with the last-minute crew changes. Just before we came on air, we actually connected with Myant-Best, the skipper, and that's a phrase that I wasn't too sure I was going to be saying at times of the boat. And this is what he had to say.
It was a little bit of a survival mode for us as well. We had a pretty intense, way from Alicante to Gibraltar, and pretty high focus sailing, and it was good to get a little bit of a split from the fleet. And we're still running with one person less as well on board, so it's last night was a little bit of surviving then as well, pretty physical, but we sort of positioned ourselves, not always where we wanted to be, but we wanted to go to the African coast and then come up on a long starboard, so we did that, and it was difficult in the morning. We lost a little bit there, but we still feel very happy that we sort of hang on with the fleet and keep chipping away.
Well, Akzo Nobel is having a rather amazing time of it. You're obviously performing well on the water. You were second out of the Mediterranean. Do you think you can keep this up as the leg continues?
Well, I hope so. That's what we're here for, right? I mean, of course. I mean, the guys, what I said before, everyone on board has been pretty amazing, and dealing with the circumstances we had to start on were being far from normal and far from a normal preparation. But once we're out on the water, we're doing our thing, and we're making the best of what we have, and that's pretty big. Everyone in the group, everyone is having a good smile on and enjoying that we're out here, and of course we're gonna go. We're gonna give everything we have to go to Lisbon.
Well, there we go. Skipper Myant-Best out on Akzo Nobel at the moment, and the race continues. That's just about all the time we've got today to dive into what's happening out in the water. But of course, tomorrow morning, 700 UTC, we've got the quick fix just to condense everything that we've seen coming in. And then we've got another in-depth daily live show at 1300 UTC. Conrad Colman will be there. All the race experts are waiting for your responses on Twitter. Ask us, what do you want to know about this race? Because we are here to lift the lid for you and show you exactly what is going on here in the Volvo Ocean Race. And we will see you tomorrow.